Hey everybody, this is Tim with the Vintage Airstream podcast. When I was installing these seat swivels, I wasn't intending on doing a video, so I don't have a lot of video of the process. But as it went along, I kind of struggled with the bracket for lowering the emergency brake, which has to be done. And so I thought I would try and detail out what I learned in case you run into it yourself. These are brackets made by Amazing Auto. These are for the transit and they're for manual seats. Anyway, I will be throwing in pictures, a little bit of narration, and hopefully it'll help you out. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, I thought I'd talk a minute about the Amazing Auto swivels, specifically on my 2020 Transit that has the manual uh, emergency brake on the floor. That really changes a lot, makes it much more difficult. The passenger one, fairly straightforward. Just remove the seat, remove the cable for the airbag, and then put the swivel on. Now they are different for manual seats or powered seats, and the passenger side and the driver's side. So they're all different. So you got to make sure you get the exact right one. These are offset swivels, so you can swivel them with the door closed. A lot of them you can't, so that's nice. And I did find I didn't have to mess up, change any of the hardware for the seats or the brackets. A lot of time I see on the swivel brackets, you have to, on other brands, people are like having to drill out the holes, or they're having to drill out the holes on their base of their transit. As long as you have the OEM base for seat base, and you order the right model, it's going to fit, no problem. And so it's nice. The problem comes in with the driver's side with the floor e-brake. That just kind of changes everything. Especially my e-brake had the 400 watt factory inverter built into it, which the inverter is actually under the passenger seat for the 400 watt one. I guess the 150 watt inverter is actually underneath the plastic surround on the e-brake itself. So that's definitely has to go because the brake has to be lowered. The handbrake has to be lowered so the seat can clear it. And so I thought I was going to be to save mine, but it can't because the the um, the brake has to go so far down that you just have to modify the whole housing. So let me show you. First I want to show you how the bracket goes on, and then I'll talk about that housing modification. Okay, I got the swivel partially turned just because I want to show you, you know, this has to be lowered or the seat just won't turn. And you can see it still even scrapes a little bit. Now, the hard part on this one was the bracket, the lowering bracket, which comes with the driver's side. I'll insert some pictures here, but you can see, here's the bracket. And this whole thing shifted backwards too. So it used to be more forward and higher. And to get it lowered, the way Amazing Auto does is it shifts the whole thing backwards, and it uses a couple existing posts, one here and one here. And that goes inside the battery box. And then the third one isn't, this one here, isn't attached to the seat base at all. It's just attached to the bracket from behind. And I was missing that bolt because you don't want to use a bolt with a giant head on it. So let me swing around and show you that. It's gonna be tough to see, but it's just I got an Allen one. You can see it at the top. Oh my goodness. You can see it right here. So I got Allen ones because it's, it's not as proud. So, because it's almost going to sit against the bracket. And then here's one of the original bolts that tied into the base. You could probably shave that off, or you just leave it because it ends up right there when you use their bracket. This was the hardest part for me to figure out because nobody actually showed how this goes together. So the other thing that's funky is this is much lower. So this is the original setup. You know, your brake goes through here. It makes it nice looking. Well, none of that can go on because this has to go all the way down. And if you want to try and save any part of this, that's what I did, is you have to cut it up pretty dramatically. I had like I said, the 400-watt inverter. I actually ended up having to pull the plug and cap it with that little square here. I was hoping to be able to save that because it'd be a nice thing to have, but I guess I'm just not going to be able to. So this is the best I came up with. It's split in the back because everything shifted back, kind of got wider. I was able to use the same clips, so it's clipped in there, but you know, it's a hack. It's funky. Other thing I was thinking is doing, maybe buy one of those leather things they put around like a stick shift on a car, and putting it over it. But I don't know. No, this is cut in half. As you can see, I used VHB tape just to hold that on, just to kind of protect it a little bit. But this is the best I can do. I didn't need to cut this, so I ended up putting it back together with screws. All you really need to do is cut the back. And then now it'll swivel over that. Oh, it's hard to deal with on here. So it was rubbing when I was messing with trying to see if I could raise that handle a little bit. So that's kind of where I got the rubbing marks on the brake. I need two people. So you can see, you know, that's how close it's getting, and it's probably going to hit sometimes. So that's why you cannot put anything interfering with this being as low as possible. I only saw a couple of videos on the Amazing Auto install, you know, with the bracket lowering of the emergency brake. And so I ended up having, and they skipped over the part, you know, of that bracket, and they just kind of like I did, showed it on. It's very frustrating of a project, and then you're going to try and video it. It took me 2 days to do both seats, you know, spread out. So is it going to be worth it, especially all the hack you got to do to that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just starting my van, as you can see. I just figure, well, I don't want to wish I did it later. I didn't realize how much of a hack you had to do with that brake. Getting mine to 2020, so you might, if you have a newer van with electronic parking brake, you probably won't have that. Otherwise, yeah, that's the Amazing Auto brackets are great. Like I said, no modifications to the bracket, no modifications to the seat. Only mod is this having to lower that e-brake and emergency brake, and that's just the way it is. All right. Other than that, I think they're pretty great. All right. Thanks. I might switch out the two bolts on the leading edge of the seat that tend to rub once in a while with those Allen head ones. But overall, I'm very happy I did both seats, and I'm sure we're going to enjoy it when we're camping in the van. Well, I appreciate you watching. Thanks.